Your future is created by what you do today, not tomorrow. That's the truth. And it's powerful. So let me ask you, what are you doing today to change your life? If you feel stuck or like things aren't moving in the direction you want, don't worry, you're not alone. It's easy to get lost in the chaos, to get distracted by everyone else's expectations, and forget about what you truly want. But the key to changing your life starts with disappearing from all the things that drain you, so you can focus on who you want to become. In this video, I'm going to share with you how to transform yourself by first stepping away. It's not about quitting, it's about giving yourself the space to rebuild, to refocus, and to grow into the best version of yourself. You'll learn how to stop letting distractions control you, how to develop a routine that sets you up for success, and how to trust that with time, your efforts will pay off. If you're ready to stop making excuses and start making moves, this is for you. Grab a seat, because the change you've been waiting for starts now. Let's dive in. Number 1, step away from the wrong crowd that could change everything for you, the people you spend your time with. You see, whether you realize it or not, the people around you have a bigger impact on your life than you might think. In fact, they shape the direction you're heading in ways you don't even notice sometimes. If the people you're hanging out with aren't helping you grow, they're holding you back, whether you like it or not. Now, I want you to really think about this for a moment. Take a good look at the people in your life. Are they pushing you to be better? Are they encouraging you to dream bigger and aim higher? Or are they satisfied with staying the same, just going through the motions? The truth is, if you're surrounded by people who are okay with mediocrity, you'll probably start to settle for the same. It's easy to get sucked into that. You don't realize how much influence they're having on you until it's too late. It doesn't matter if they mean well. If they're not growing, they won't help you grow. If they're stuck in their ways, it'll be hard for you to move forward. So the question is, are you ready to do something about it? You have to understand that the wrong crowd can hold you back in ways you can't even see. It's subtle, but it happens. You're spending time with people who don't challenge you, people who don't have goals, people who don't care about improvement. And when that's your reality, you start to think it's normal. You start to accept it. You start to live it. If you want to get ahead, it's time to make a decision. You need to start distancing yourself from the people who are holding you back. Now, I'm not saying you should cut everyone out of your life overnight, but you have to be real with yourself about who you're spending time with. You need to make better choices about who gets your energy. At first, this is going to feel uncomfortable. I know it's not easy. You're going to feel guilty, like you're leaving people behind, like you're being harsh. But here's the truth. You can't afford to stay stuck just to make others feel better about themselves. You have dreams, you have goals, you have potential. Don't let the wrong people keep you from becoming who you're meant to be. This isn't about being rude or making a big dramatic exit. It's about focusing on what's important, your growth, your future. It's about choosing to spend less time with the people who drain you and more time on the things that are going to help you grow. Spend more time learning, building, and working on your goals. The right people will show up, and when they do, they'll be the ones who help you go to the next level. They'll challenge you, hold you accountable, and encourage you when times get tough. And here's something important you need to understand. You're going to feel weird at first. It's not going to be easy. It's going to feel strange because for so long, you've been used to the noise, the distractions, and the old habits. You might even feel lonely. But let me tell you, this is where the magic happens. When you take the time to focus on yourself, when you step away from the crowd, you create space for yourself to grow. You start thinking differently. You start acting differently. And that's when things start to change. Eventually, when you look around, you'll realize something incredible. You'll start to see that you're surrounded by the right people, the people who challenge you, the people who want more out of life, the people who are on the same path as you, and that's what makes all the difference. You'll begin to attract the people who support you, who lift you up, and who help you grow into the best version of yourself. Now, I know this isn't a quick fix. It's not about an overnight change. This is a process. It's about making the decision to take action, to make better choices every single day. The more you surround yourself with people who are striving for something more, the more that becomes your reality. The more you start focusing on the right things, the more you start seeing results. So here's the bottom line. If you want to change your life, you have to change your circle. You have to distance yourself from the wrong crowd. It's not going to be easy, but it will be worth it. The more you focus on growing yourself, the more you'll attract people who are going to help you do just that. When you start making that shift, when you start spending your time with the right people, that's when things will really start to move. You'll begin to feel the momentum, you'll begin to see progress. And eventually you won't just be talking about change, you'll be living it. Don't wait, make the change today. Step away from the crowd that's holding you back and start building the future you want. Trust me, when you do, everything else will follow. Number 2, focus on building a new routine. If you want to change your life, one of the most powerful things you can do is build a new routine. It doesn't matter where you're starting from or what you've been through. Your daily habits will shape your future. If you're unhappy with where you are in life, it's time to take a close look at your routine. Because the truth is, the way you spend your days is how your life is going to turn out. Think about it. Your current routine is getting you the results you have today. If you want different results, then you have to change how you're spending your time. Now, I know that might sound simple, but making a change in your routine isn't always easy. It requires commitment, focus, and most importantly, it requires action. You can't just talk about what you want to do. You've got to actually put in the work. One of the first steps in building a new routine is being honest with yourself. What's your current routine really like? If you're spending a lot of time on things that aren't helping you grow, things like mindless scrolling through social media, watching hours of TV, or just hanging out with people who aren't pushing you to be better, well, that's time you could be spending doing something more productive. And don't get me wrong, downtime is important. But if that's all you're doing, you're not building the life you want. Now let's talk about building a new routine that's going to move you forward. The first thing you've got to do is get clear on what you want. What are your goals? What does success look like for you? You need to define it. The clearer you are about what you want, the easier it is to design your daily habits around that goal. You've got to start small. Don't try to completely overhaul your life in one day. Focus on making small, consistent changes. If you want to start waking up earlier, don't set your alarm for 5 a.m. tomorrow. If you've been waking up at 9, start by getting up 30 minutes earlier for a week. Then gradually push it back. The same goes for working out, reading, or any other goal you have. Small changes over time add up. But here's the thing. Once you've set your new routine, you've got to commit to it. This is where most people fall short. They start strong, but then they lose steam. It's easy to get distracted, to make excuses, or to fall back into old habits. But if you want to change your life, you've got to stick with your new routine, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it. There will be days when you don't want to do the work. There will be days when you feel tired, when the weather's bad, when you just don't feel like pushing through. But it's those days that make the difference. It's those days that determine whether you'll succeed or not. Your ability to push through and stay committed will separate you from the people who never make it. One of the best ways to stick with your new routine is to track your progress. When you see the little wins each day, it fuels you to keep going. You can use a journal, a planner, or even an app on your phone. Write down what you did each day, how you felt, and what you accomplished. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but just seeing how far you've come can be a huge motivator to keep going. Also, be sure to set time for things that help you recharge. Building a new routine doesn't mean working yourself into the ground. You've got to take care of your body and mind. Make sure to schedule breaks, time for rest, and moments to recharge so you can keep going. A good routine doesn't mean burning yourself out. It means finding the right balance between productivity and self-care. As you start building this new routine, you'll start to notice something amazing. You'll begin to feel different. When you're following a plan, when you know what you're doing each day, you start to feel a sense of control over your life. You feel more empowered, more confident, and more focused on the things that truly matter. Now, it's important to keep in mind that things aren't going to change overnight. The results you want won't come instantly, but over time, those small, consistent actions will add up. Your new routine will begin to show results. You'll start to see improvements in your health, your productivity, your relationships, and your mindset. It won't happen in a week or a month, but stick with it, and you'll see the results. Another key part of your new routine is learning and growing every day. Spend time reading, listening to podcasts, or watching videos that help you improve. Your routine shouldn't just be about working hard. It should also be about working smart. Take time to learn new things, pick up new skills, and get better at what you do. Knowledge is power, And the more you feed your mind, the better equipped you'll be to tackle the challenges that come your way. The more you stick to your routine, the more you'll see how it impacts your life. You'll start feeling more accomplished. You'll start feeling like you're in control. And most importantly, you'll start seeing real progress. You'll start becoming the person you've always wanted to be. But the key to all of this is consistency. It's not about making big changes all at once, but about making small, steady improvements every day. The more consistent you are, the more progress you'll make. And when you look back, you'll realize how far you've come, one small step at a time. Building a new routine isn't just about changing your habits. It's about changing your mindset. It's about taking control of your day and deciding what you want your life to look like. When you commit to a routine that supports your goals, you'll begin to build the life you've always dreamed of. And before long, you won't just be talking about the changes you want to make. You'll be living them. Number 3, work on yourself in private. One of the most important things you can do is work on yourself in private. This is where the real growth happens. It's easy to talk about what you want to do, to tell everyone around you about your big plans, but real transformation doesn't happen in public. It happens when you're alone, when no one is watching, when there's no applause or recognition. That's when you do the hard work that nobody sees. Look, we live in a world where everyone wants instant recognition. Social media has made it so easy to show off what we're doing, to seek validation from others. But here's the hard truth. All that noise is just that. Noise, it doesn't help you grow. It doesn't help you become the person you're meant to be. What matters most is what you do when no one is looking. That's where your true progress lies. The best work you will ever do will be in private. That's when you can put your head down, focus, and do the work without worrying about what anyone else thinks. It's when you can get serious about your goals and take consistent action without needing the praise or recognition of others. There's something incredibly powerful about working on yourself in private. When you're not seeking attention, when you're not worried about how others perceive you, you can truly focus on what's important. You can focus on your growth, on improving your skills, on getting better every single day. This is where true change happens. And the best part, you don't need anyone else's approval to make it happen. Too many people want to show off their progress before they've even made it. They want to announce their goals to the world and get the attention and praise that comes with it. But real success isn't about getting praise early on. It's about doing the work quietly, day in and day out, until the results speak for themselves. When you work in private, you take all the pressure off. You're not worried about who's watching or who's judging. You're focused on getting better for the sake of getting better, not for the sake of looking good. This doesn't mean you have to isolate yourself completely. It doesn't mean you should avoid sharing your successes with others once you've reached a milestone. But you have to be okay with the quiet moments, the moments when you're putting in the work and nobody knows. You've got to understand that this is where the magic happens. This is where you grow into the person you want to be. There's a beauty in working quietly. There's a sense of peace that comes with knowing that your progress is yours and yours alone, and that you're not looking for validation from anyone. You don't need to tell everyone about your next big move. Just keep moving. Just keep improving. Your work will speak for itself when the time is right. But here's the thing. It's not easy. It's easy to get distracted by the world around you, to want to share every step of the journey with others. But the most successful people are the ones who focus on themselves when nobody's looking. They don't need to tell the world what they're doing. They just do it. And over time, those quiet moments of hard work add up. They turn into something powerful. If you're constantly talking about what you want to do but never actually doing it, you're never going to get anywhere. Talking about your goals won't get you closer to them. It's the work you do in silence that counts. It's the hours you spend working on your skills, reading, studying, or practicing your craft. It's the little things you do every day behind the scenes that will eventually lead to big results. This doesn't mean you should avoid asking for help when you need it, or that you should never seek advice. But what it does mean is that you should never rely on other people to motivate you or push you forward. The best work you will ever do will come from within you. It's about you taking control of your own growth, your own success, and your own future. The more you work in private, the more you start to believe in yourself. You start to trust that you're capable of making progress without needing to prove it to anyone. You stop measuring your worth by the approval of others, and instead you measure it by the progress you're making toward your goals. When you're working in private, you're also building resilience. You're teaching yourself how to stay focused, how to deal with setbacks, and how to push forward even when it feels like no one notices. This is the kind of growth that prepares you for real success. Because when you're used to doing the work in private, you're not relying on external praise to keep you going. You're internally motivated, and that's when you become unstoppable. One of the biggest challenges people face when working on their goals is the desire to quit when things get tough. It's easy to get discouraged when you're not seeing immediate results, especially if you're not sharing your progress with others. But working in private helps you build patience. You start to understand that success doesn't come overnight. It comes through consistent effort, through working hard when nobody's watching, and through trusting the process. As you continue to put in the work behind the scenes, you'll start to see the results. The more you focus on your own growth and development, the more you'll start to see yourself changing. Your mindset will shift, your habits will improve, and you'll find yourself becoming the person you've always wanted to be. And when you're ready to share your success with the world, the results will speak for themselves. People will notice the changes, and they'll see the hard work that went into it. In the end, the most powerful work you can do is the work that happens in private. It's not glamorous, it's not flashy, and it's not always easy. But it's the kind of work that leads to real, lasting change. The more you commit to working on yourself in private, the more you'll see yourself grow, the more you'll achieve, and the more you'll become the person you've always dreamed of becoming. So stay committed, keep working in silence, keep putting in the effort, even when no one is looking. Because in the end, the success that comes from doing the work in private is the kind of success that lasts, and that's the kind of success you deserve. Number 4, destroy bad habits that hold you back. If you want to move forward in life, one of the most important things you must do is destroy the bad habits that are holding you back. It's not enough to just wish for success or dream about the life you want. You need to take a hard look at your habits, the ones that are keeping you stuck, and eliminate them once and for all. It's the bad habits that are standing between you and the life you want to live. The longer you hold on to them, the longer it's going to take to make progress. Here's the thing, habits are powerful. They shape the way you live, the way you think, and the way you behave. They become your routine, and over time your routine becomes your reality. If you're stuck in negative patterns, they will hold you back from achieving your full potential. But the good news is that you have the power to change. You have the ability to break free from those habits that are keeping you from moving forward. The first step in destroying bad habits is recognizing them. You can't fix what you don't acknowledge. Take a good look at your daily routine and ask yourself, what are the habits that are holding me back? Maybe you're procrastinating. Maybe you're spending too much time on things that aren't adding value to your life. Maybe you're not taking care of your body. Or maybe you're letting negative thinking control your actions. Whatever it is, you need to face it. Look at those habits in the eye and be honest with yourself about how they're impacting your life. Once you've identified the habits, it's time to get serious about breaking them. And let me tell you right now, this is not going to be easy. Breaking bad habits requires discipline, consistency, and a willingness to change. You're not going to destroy a bad habit overnight. It's going to take time. But that doesn't mean you can't do it. Every day that you make the choice to break a bad habit is a step closer to becoming the person you want to be. One thing that makes bad habits so hard to break is that they've become comfortable. They're familiar. You've been doing them for so long that they feel like a part of you. But just because something is familiar doesn't mean it's good for you. If you want to grow, if you want to change, you need to get uncomfortable. You need to challenge yourself to do things differently. Start by replacing bad habits with good ones. It's not enough to just stop doing something. You need to fill that void with something positive. For example, if you have a habit of procrastinating, don't just sit around waiting for motivation to strike. Instead, start creating a new routine where you focus on taking action every day. Even if it's small steps at first, replace the time spent on distractions with something that helps you move closer to your goals. Whether it's reading, working on your fitness, or learning something new, find something that aligns with where you want to go and make it a regular part of your day. Another key to breaking bad habits is accountability. It's easy to slip back into old patterns if you're doing it alone. Find someone you trust, someone who can help keep you on track and hold you accountable. This person doesn't need to be constantly checking in on you, but having someone to talk to about your progress can make a huge difference. Accountability makes you more committed to your goals, and it reminds you that you're not in this alone. When you're working to break bad habits, you're going to face resistance. There will be days when it feels impossible to make progress. There will be days when you'll want to give up and fall back into your old ways. But those are the days that matter most. Those are the days when you need to push through, when you need to show yourself that you're stronger than the habits that are holding you back. It's easy to stick to your new routine when everything is going smoothly, but it's the tough days that will define you. Those are the days when you need to remind yourself why you're doing this in the first place. If you slip up, don't beat yourself up. It's part of the process. The key is to get back on track as soon as possible. Don't let one mistake derail your entire progress. Every day is a new chance to start fresh, to keep working on destroying those bad habits and replacing them with habits that will move you forward. One of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to break bad habits is expecting immediate results. Change takes time. If you're trying to build a new habit, whether it's exercising every day or learning a new skill, it won't happen overnight. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to face challenges, but that's okay. What matters is that you keep going. You keep putting in the work, even when it's hard, and over time you'll start to see the results. Breaking bad habits also means getting rid of the negative thinking that goes along with them. Often bad habits are connected to the way you view yourself. If you constantly tell yourself that you're lazy or incapable, you're reinforcing those bad habits. Change the way you think. Start believing that you're capable of making positive changes in your life. When you shift your mindset, everything else starts to change with it. As you continue on this journey of breaking bad habits, remember that it's a process. You're not going to be perfect. You're not going to get everything right all the time. But the important thing is that you're taking action. You're committed to becoming a better version of yourself. And every day that you choose to destroy a bad habit is a victory. It's not easy, but it's worth it. When you break free from the habits that are holding you back, you make room for new, positive habits that will propel you forward. You'll start to see new opportunities. You'll start to feel more confident, more in control of your life. And the best part, you'll be one step closer to the life you've always dreamed of. Number 5, go all in on self-improvement. Too many people are satisfied with just getting by. They do enough to maintain their current situation, but they don't make the conscious decision to push beyond their limits, to grow and to evolve. If you want to achieve more, become more, and live a life that's better than what you have right now, you have to commit to improvement every single day. Let me tell you something. Growth doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't happen when you just go through the motions or wait for the perfect moment to start. You have to take charge. You have to decide right now that you're going to invest in yourself, that you're going to dedicate your time, your energy, and your focus to becoming the best version of yourself. This isn't a half-hearted effort. This is an all-in commitment. Here's the thing about self-improvement. It's not just about reading books or taking a course. It's not about attending a seminar and thinking you're done. It's about living your life with the intention of getting better day after day. It's about understanding that every single choice you make, every decision you take, has an impact on your growth. You have to approach self-improvement like it's the most important thing in your life, because in many ways it is. When you decide to go all in on self-improvement, you start to see the world differently. You stop looking at setbacks as failures, and instead you see them as opportunities to learn. You stop complaining about your circumstances and take responsibility for your life. You recognize that your future is not determined by the circumstances you face, but by the decisions you make and the effort you put in. It's a shift in mindset. You become someone who is constantly looking for ways to improve, and you stop making excuses for why things aren't happening for you. The most successful people in the world are those who have made self-improvement a priority. They don't just rest on their laurels. They're always seeking ways to improve their knowledge, their skills, and their mindset. They invest in themselves like they're their most valuable asset. And trust me, they are. You have to start seeing yourself the same way. You are your greatest asset. And if you want to achieve anything meaningful, you have to put the effort into making yourself better. This doesn't mean you need to change who you are. It means you need to become more of who you are. You have unique talents, skills, and potential that are waiting to be developed. Your job is to tap into that potential, to refine it, and to make it work for you. If you're not growing, you're stagnating. If you're not getting better, you're getting left behind. The world doesn't wait for you to catch up. It moves forward, and the only way to keep up is to constantly improve. Going all in on self-improvement also means getting serious about your habits. Your daily habits shape your life. If you're not intentional about the way you spend your time, you're wasting it. Self-improvement requires daily, consistent effort. You have to wake up every day with the intention of doing something that moves you closer to your goals. Whether it's reading a book, learning a new skill, working on your fitness, or developing your mindset, you need to make improvement a part of your routine. The more you commit to doing the work, the more you'll see the results. It's not about taking massive action all at once. It's about taking consistent, deliberate action over time. And let me be clear, this doesn't always mean taking giant leaps. Sometimes self-improvement comes in small, incremental steps, but it's those small steps that add up over time. It's the consistent, everyday effort that leads to significant change. You have to trust the process, even when it feels slow. The key is to keep moving forward, even if it's just a little bit at a time. Another important part of going all in on self-improvement is learning to embrace discomfort. Growth doesn't happen when you're comfortable. It happens when you step outside of your comfort zone and challenge yourself to do things that are hard, things that scare you. If you want to improve, you have to be willing to stretch yourself, to do things that push you to your limits. It's in those moments of discomfort that you'll find your true potential. You'll discover just how much you're capable of when you push through the challenges and keep going, even when it feels difficult. You also need to surround yourself with people who support your growth. The people you spend time with have a massive influence on your life. If you're constantly around people who are negative, who don't believe in self-improvement, or who are content with just getting by, it's going to be much harder for you to stay motivated and committed. Surround yourself with people who push you to be better, who inspire you to grow, and who hold you accountable to your goals. Find mentors who have already walked the path you want to walk, and learn from them. Get in a community of like-minded individuals who share your vision and your values. This kind of support system is invaluable when you're committed to self-improvement. And don't forget that self-improvement also means taking care of yourself physically and mentally. You can't expect to improve your life if you're neglecting your health. If you want to be at your best, you need to eat well, exercise regularly, and get enough rest. You need to take care of your mind by feeding it with positive, motivating thoughts. Your mind and body are connected, and they both need to be nurtured for you to be at your best. The journey of self-improvement is not always easy. There will be obstacles. There will be times when you want to give up, when it feels like the effort isn't paying off. But remember this, every day you commit to improving is a step closer to the life you want. Every small victory adds up. Every bit of effort counts. You are building the future you want, one day at a time. Stay committed, keep pushing yourself, and never stop improving. When you go all in on self-improvement, you're not just investing in your future, you're changing the course of your life. You're setting yourself up for success in ways you may not even fully understand yet. But if you keep at it, if you keep doing the work, you will see the results, and those results will speak for themselves. Stay the course, keep improving, and remember, the best investment you can ever make is in yourself. Number 6. Learn to enjoy solitude. Solitude is not something to be afraid of. Many people fear being alone. But in reality, learning to enjoy your own company can be one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. You see, when you're alone, you have a chance to truly connect with yourself, reflect, and figure out what you want out of life. Solitude is where personal growth begins. I get it. There's a lot of noise in our world. Everywhere you go, there's something pulling at your attention. Phones buzzing, people talking, things to do, places to go. It's easy to get swept up in it all and forget who you really are. But when you're alone, you're forced to look at yourself. And that can be uncomfortable. For some, the idea of being alone for any length of time feels like a burden. But here's the truth. If you learn to enjoy solitude, it can be one of the most enriching experiences you'll ever have. First, let's understand what we're really talking about here. There's a difference between being alone and feeling lonely. Loneliness is a feeling of emptiness, like something is missing. It's when you feel like you're disconnected from others, or not valued. Solitude, on the other hand, is about choosing to be alone with yourself. And that's a whole different story. It's about creating space for your own thoughts, your own reflection, and your own growth. And trust me, it can be incredibly rewarding. One of the first things you need to realize is that solitude gives you the freedom to think. And thinking is one of the most powerful tools we have as human beings. When you're constantly surrounded by noise, it's hard to think clearly. Your mind is full of distractions. But when you step into solitude, when you create that space for yourself, you can start to think about what truly matters to you. You can reflect on where you've been, where you're going, and what needs to change for you to get there. The truth is, most of us spend too much time focusing on the external, what's happening around us, when we should be focusing on the internal, what's going on inside our own minds. Solitude gives you the chance to do just that. You can ask yourself the big questions. What do I really want in life? What's my purpose? What changes do I need to make to get where I want to go? These are the types of questions that require quiet moments to really answer. And when you're constantly distracted, you don't give yourself the chance to discover the answers. But here's the thing. Many people are so afraid of being alone with their own thoughts that they constantly fill their time with distractions. They might watch TV, scroll through social media, or talk to friends just to avoid being by themselves. But you can't escape yourself. No matter how many distractions you fill your life with, you're still the same person. And if you don't take the time to get to know yourself, you'll miss out on the most important relationship you could ever have, the one with yourself. Now, I'm not saying you should isolate yourself from the world or cut off your relationships. No, it's about balance. It's about carving out time for yourself. And that's where the magic happens. When you spend time alone, you get to know yourself better. You learn about your strengths, your weaknesses, your fears, your dreams, and your desires. And that's when real growth happens. Let me tell you something else about solitude. It helps you become more self-reliant. Think about it. When you're alone, you're forced to make decisions for yourself. You don't have anyone else to rely on for answers or direction. And that's a good thing. Self-reliance is the key to becoming the person you want to be. When you learn to trust yourself, when you learn to rely on your own judgment, you start to feel more confident. And confidence is the foundation of success. You see, too many people wait for someone else to show them the way. They wait for someone to tell them what to do, where to go, or how to think. But if you learn to enjoy solitude, you can start to chart your own course. You can start to make decisions based on your own values, your own goals, and your own instincts. You can take ownership of your life. And that's where true empowerment comes from. Let me give you another reason why solitude is important. It's because it gives you the opportunity to recharge. You know, life can be exhausting. We're constantly on the go, constantly giving our energy to others, constantly taking care of responsibilities. But if you don't take the time to recharge, to rest, to be alone with your thoughts, you'll burn out. You need to replenish your energy, and solitude is the best way to do that. Think about your phone. When your phone battery runs low, you plug it into the charger. You don't keep using it until it dies. But many people treat their own energy the opposite way. They keep going and going until they're running on empty. But just like your phone, you need to plug yourself in. You need time to rest, to reflect, and to recharge. Solitude is where you do that. It's where you find the peace and the quiet to refill your energy and get back to your best self. Now, I know some of you are probably wondering, but what do I do when I'm alone? How do I make the most of this time? Great question. Let me give you a few ideas. First, you can start by journaling. Writing down your thoughts is a powerful way to process what's going on in your mind. It helps you understand your feelings and your desires. Plus, it gives you the chance to get everything out of your head and onto paper. Second, you can spend time reflecting on your goals. Where do you want to be in 6 months? In a year? What steps do you need to take to get there? Solitude gives you the time and space to think about these things without distractions. You can make a plan and figure out what actions you need to take. Another great way to use your time alone is by learning something new. Maybe there's a book you've been meaning to read, or a skill you want to develop. Solitude is the perfect time to invest in yourself. You can use this time to grow and expand your knowledge. But here's the most important thing about learning to enjoy solitude. It's about becoming comfortable with yourself. It's about not needing to be constantly entertained, not needing to be around other people all the time. It's about finding peace in the quiet and realizing that you're enough on your own. When you get to that point, when you can enjoy your own company, that's when you start to unlock your true potential. So here's what I want you to do. Start small. Set aside a few minutes each day to be alone with your thoughts. Take a walk by yourself. Sit in a quiet room, or spend some time journaling. Over time, you'll start to feel more comfortable in your own company. And eventually, you'll come to realize that solitude is not something to fear, but something to embrace. When you learn to enjoy solitude, you gain clarity, strength, and peace of mind. You become the best version of yourself. So go ahead, give yourself the gift of solitude. It's one of the most powerful things you can do for your growth and your success. Number 7. Stay patient and trust the process. It's easy to get discouraged when things aren't moving as quickly as you'd like. But let me tell you, the most successful people are the ones who understand that progress takes time. It's not about instant results or shortcuts. It's about staying the course, sticking to your plan, and trusting the process, even when it feels like things are moving slowly. If you want to reach your goals, you have to be patient and trust that everything is happening for a reason. The first thing to understand is that great things take time. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is success. You don't become an expert overnight. You don't reach your highest potential in a few months or even a year. It's a journey, and that journey is going to take time. But just because it's taking longer than you expected doesn't mean you're not on the right path. If anything, it means you're laying the groundwork for something even better. Every step you take, no matter how small, is moving you closer to your goal. There will be times when it feels like nothing is happening. You put in the work, you follow the steps, and yet it seems like you're stuck in the same place. But that's where patience comes in. It's about trusting that even when you can't see the results right away, things are happening behind the scenes. The seeds you've planted are growing. You just can't always see the growth immediately. But trust me, it's happening. You've got to keep going even when it feels like nothing's changing. Patience is not passive waiting. It's an active choice to stay committed to your vision, even when you're not seeing the results right away. It's about continuing to take action day after day, knowing that every effort you put in is getting you one step closer to where you want to be. It's about resisting the temptation to quit when things get tough. When you stay patient, you're also telling yourself that you believe in the process. You're telling yourself that you trust that what you're doing will pay off in the end, even if it takes longer than you imagined. Another important thing to remember is that progress doesn't always look the way you think it will. You might be looking for a certain kind of result, but the universe often works in mysterious ways. Sometimes the things you need to learn, or the experiences you need to have, aren't immediately obvious. The key is to stay open to the process and trust that you're being guided in the right direction. Even the setbacks, the mistakes, and the failures are part of the process. They're teaching you something valuable, so don't let a little delay or a bump in the road discourage you. Stay patient, stay open, and trust that everything is unfolding as it should. Now, I know it's not always easy to be patient. In a world where we want everything instantly, waiting can feel like a challenge. But think about this. The things that matter most in life are rarely the things that come quickly. Success, growth, and transformation all take time. The best things in life are worth waiting for. And when you're willing to stay patient, you're showing yourself that you understand the value of that process. You're showing yourself that you're willing to do whatever it takes to reach your goals, no matter how long it takes. One of the biggest obstacles to patience is the fear of failure. We all have it to some degree. The fear that maybe we're not cut out for this. The fear that maybe we're wasting our time. But the truth is, failure is part of the journey. It's not something to fear, it's something to learn from. Every time you fail, you're given the opportunity to grow and become better. So don't let the fear of failure keep you from trusting the process. Every successful person has failed, but they didn't let those failures stop them. They kept going. They stayed patient and trusted that what they were doing would eventually pay off. In fact, failure can sometimes be the very thing that sets you up for success. It teaches you lessons you can't learn from success alone. And if you stay patient and keep moving forward, you'll find that those lessons will be the building blocks for your success. So embrace the failures, the setbacks, and the challenges. They are all part of the process that's going to take you to your ultimate destination. The key to staying patient is to remind yourself regularly of why you're doing this. What's your vision? What's your goal? When you stay connected to your why, it helps you stay focused and patient, even when things aren't going as planned. Your vision is your compass. It will guide you through the tough times and help you keep moving forward when you feel like giving up. So take the time to really understand your purpose. Know what you're working toward, and use that vision to fuel your patience and your persistence. Another thing to remember is that patience doesn't mean complacency. It doesn't mean sitting back and waiting for things to magically happen. Patience is about persistence. It's about continuing to show up every day, putting in the work, and trusting that you'll get there in the end. Patience is not a passive thing. It's an active choice to keep moving forward, even when the road ahead seems long. Every step you take, no matter how small, is one step closer to your dream. And here's the thing. When you stay patient and trust the process, you begin to develop a sense of peace. You stop stressing about every little detail and start trusting that things will unfold in the right way at the right time. This doesn't mean you stop working hard or stop taking action. It means you stop worrying so much about the outcome. You trust that your hard work is adding up, and that eventually it will lead to the success you desire. So take a deep breath and remind yourself this is a journey. The results will come, but they take time. Keep showing up, keep putting in the work, and keep trusting that everything is happening for you, not to you. Patience isn't about waiting for things to happen. It's about believing that they will. And when you trust the process, you give yourself the gift of peace, knowing that you're on the right path and that success is just around the corner. Keep going. Stay patient. Trust the process. You're on your way to something amazing. Number 8, stop explaining yourself to everyone in life. One of the most freeing things you can do is stop feeling the need to explain yourself to everyone. We all go through moments when we feel like we have to justify our decisions, our actions, or even our dreams. It's like we're constantly trying to make other people understand our choices or get their approval. But let me tell you something important. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your life. It's your life, and you're the one who gets to decide how to live it. Now, I know this can be difficult because we're all raised to be considerate, to care about others' opinions, and to be respectful of people's feelings. There's nothing wrong with being considerate. But sometimes, that consideration turns into a habit of over-explaining yourself, to the point where it holds you back. The truth is, not everyone needs to understand your journey. Not everyone needs to agree with your choices. And you don't need to explain yourself every time you make a decision that's right for you. The moment you realize that you don't have to explain yourself to anyone is the moment you step into your power. When you stop trying to justify your every move, you free yourself from the pressure of seeking approval. You stop living for other people's expectations and start living for yourself. Think about it for a second. How often do you find yourself explaining why you're doing something? Maybe you're explaining why you're taking a different career path, why you're starting a new project, or why you're making changes in your life. How many times do you feel like you have to justify your actions to someone else? Here's the thing. You don't need to explain why you're doing what you're doing. You don't need anyone's permission to live your life the way you see fit. When you're clear on your own vision and goals, you don't need to waste energy convincing others that you're on the right track. People will always have opinions. Some will support you, others will question you, and some may even criticize you. But none of that matters unless you allow it to affect you. You're the one who knows what's best for you, not them. You see, when you explain yourself too much, it's often because you're seeking validation. You want others to approve of your decisions, because deep down you're unsure if you're making the right choice. But here's the truth. You don't need validation from others to know that you're on the right path. You don't need approval from anyone to pursue your dreams, or to create the life you want. The only approval you need is your own. This doesn't mean you should be rude or dismissive to people who are genuinely concerned about you. Of course, you should listen to advice from those you trust. But don't feel the need to explain your every action. Sometimes people may not understand your decisions because they haven't walked the same path. They don't have the same perspective or vision that you do. They don't know what drives you, and that's okay. You don't need to explain yourself to them. You're not here to make everyone understand you. You're here to live your life in a way that aligns with your values and your goals. When you stop explaining yourself to others, you start making decisions based on your own intuition and clarity. You become more confident in your choices because you're not second-guessing yourself to please someone else. You start to trust your instincts, trust your judgment, and trust that you're capable of making the right decisions for your life. This is an empowering shift. It gives you the freedom to move forward without hesitation and to take bold steps toward your goals, knowing that you don't have to explain why you're doing what you're doing. Another benefit of not explaining yourself is that you stop wasting time. Think about how much time you spend trying to explain yourself to others. You might spend hours trying to explain why you're making a certain decision, why you want to follow a certain path, or why you're not doing things the way others expect you to. Imagine how much more time and energy you'd have if you stopped explaining yourself and focused that energy on taking action. Every minute spent trying to explain yourself is a minute you could be using to work on your dreams and move closer to your goals. The truth is, when you stop explaining yourself, you start to prioritize your time and energy on the things that matter most. You stop seeking external approval and you focus on what truly matters, your goals, your growth, and your success. And when you do that, you start to see real progress. You stop wasting time on things that don't serve you. And you start using your time in a way that gets you closer to the life you want to create. It's important to recognize that not everyone will agree with your choices, and that's perfectly fine. People have different perspectives, different experiences, and different values. And just because they don't understand your decisions doesn't mean they're wrong or that you need to change your path. There will always be critics, and that's a normal part of life. But you don't have to justify your decisions to them. You don't have to seek their approval or explain why you're doing what you're doing. The only person whose opinion truly matters is your own. Now let's talk about the power of focus. When you stop explaining yourself to others, you free up mental and emotional energy. You no longer get caught up in trying to convince people that your decisions are valid or right. You stop worrying about what others think, and instead, you start focusing on your own journey. You become laser focused on your goals, and you start to make real progress. The more you focus on your own path, the less you'll be distracted by what others think or say. Here's the bottom line. Your life is your responsibility. You are the one who gets to decide how you want to live it. And while it's great to listen to advice from others, you don't owe anyone an explanation for your actions. You don't need to justify your decisions, your dreams, or your choices. It's your life, and you get to live it on your terms. So stop explaining yourself to everyone. Stop seeking validation. Trust your instincts, trust your vision, and move forward with confidence. The more you do this, the more you'll empower yourself to create the life you've always wanted. Remember, people will always have their opinions, but the only opinion that matters is yours. Don't waste time explaining yourself to others. Spend that time working on your dreams and building the life you desire. When you focus on your own path and stop seeking approval from others, you'll start to see real change. You'll start to feel more confident, more in control, and more focused on your goal. So go ahead, live your life, make your decisions, and don't feel the need to explain them to anyone. You've got this. Number 9, become obsessed with learning in today's fast-paced world. It's no longer enough to rely on what you know. What you knew yesterday might not be enough for the challenges you'll face tomorrow. The key to staying ahead, the key to growth, and the key to long-term success is learning. But it's not just about picking up a few facts or brushing up on a few skills. It's about developing a mindset of continuous learning, being hungry for knowledge, and making learning a constant part of your life. Think about this. Successful people aren't the ones who know everything. They're the ones who know they don't know everything and are constantly seeking new knowledge. They're the ones who are willing to admit that there's always more to learn, and they make it their mission to grow every single day. You see, the more you learn, the more you grow. The more you grow, the more you can achieve. And the more you achieve, the closer you get to becoming the person you want to be. When you make learning a priority in your life, you're investing in yourself. You're building the foundation for the future you want. Every new piece of knowledge you gain is like adding another brick to the wall of your success. Every book you read, every podcast you listen to, every skill you learn, these are the tools that will help you get ahead in life. But learning isn't something that happens by accident. It's something you have to make a habit. You have to wake up every day with the mindset that you are going to learn something new, something that will push you further along your journey. Too often, people get comfortable with what they already know. They think that once they've learned something, they've reached the limit of their potential. But that's simply not true. Knowledge is power, but only if you keep acquiring it. The moment you stop learning is the moment you start falling behind. The world is constantly changing, and if you don't keep up, you risk being left behind. But here's the good news. Learning doesn't have to be a struggle. It doesn't have to be something you dread. When you develop a passion for learning, it becomes a joy. It becomes something you look forward to, something you can't get enough of. Learning is a way of life, not just a task to check off your to-do list. It's something that should excite you. It should ignite a fire within you to discover more, to understand more, and to do more. You can learn in so many ways. You can read books, take courses, watch videos, attend seminars, listen to interviews. The possibilities are endless. There is no shortage of information available to you. The question is, are you willing to take advantage of it? One of the most powerful things you can do for yourself is to invest in your education. And I'm not just talking about formal education, although that's important too. I'm talking about the lifelong commitment to self-education. The world is full of opportunities to learn from the people who have already walked the path you want to take. There are thousands of books, podcasts, and online resources that can teach you the skills, strategies, and knowledge you need to succeed. but you have to be willing to put in the time. You have to make learning a priority. When you start to become obsessed with learning, you'll notice something amazing happen. You'll start seeing connections that others don't see. You'll start to think in new ways. Your creativity will skyrocket. You'll find solutions to problems that once seemed impossible. That's the power of knowledge. The more you know, the more equipped you are to handle whatever life throws at you. You start to become a problem solver. You start to become the person who knows the answers, who has the insights, who can navigate through life with confidence, because you've invested in learning. But the process of learning doesn't stop once you acquire a certain level of knowledge. The best learners are the ones who never stop. They know that there's always something new to discover. They're always looking for new ways to grow and improve. You can't just be satisfied with what you already know. It's not enough. You have to constantly push yourself to learn more, to expand your horizons, to challenge your thinking. The world is full of opportunities for growth, and they won't wait for you. You have to go after them. If you want to achieve extraordinary things in your life, you need to make learning a non-negotiable part of your daily routine. Think about it. If you spend just an hour a day learning something new, that adds up to over 365 hours of learning each year. In just 1 year, you could gain enough knowledge to transform your life. But it takes commitment. It takes dedication. It takes a hunger for knowledge that never dies. And when you develop that kind of hunger, the sky is the limit. The best part of learning is that it doesn't just improve your skills or your knowledge. It transforms you as a person. When you learn something new, you become more confident. You become more capable. You become the kind of person who can tackle bigger challenges and take on more responsibility. You start to see the world in a different light. You start to believe that anything is possible because you know you have the tools to make it happen. But here's the catch. Learning doesn't just happen on its own. You have to make it a priority. You have to set aside time each day to read, to study, to grow. If you're not actively learning, you're missing out on the opportunity to grow and improve. But if you make learning a daily habit, you'll find that it becomes second nature. It becomes something you do without even thinking about it. And as you continue to grow, you'll see just how powerful this commitment to learning can be in your life. Another key to becoming obsessed with learning is to stay curious. Curiosity is what drives the best learners. It's that hunger to know more, to understand the world in a deeper way. When you're curious, you're constantly asking questions. You're constantly seeking answers. You're never satisfied with what you already know. You're always pushing yourself to discover more. And that curiosity will fuel your learning for the rest of your life. So here's the challenge. Become obsessed with learning. Make it a daily habit. Read every day. Listen to podcasts. Watch videos. Take courses. Do whatever it takes to keep learning, growing, and improving. The more you learn, the more you can achieve. And the more you achieve, the closer you get to living the life you've always dreamed of. Don't stop. Don't settle. Keep learning. And you'll find that success is not just a destination. It's a journey. And the more you learn, the better that journey will become. Number 10. Return only when you're ready. There comes a time in everyone's life when they need to step away. You might feel the pressure from others, or maybe from yourself, to jump back in, to go back to the way things were, or to make a comeback before you're truly ready. But let me tell you something, you don't owe anyone a return until you are truly ready. You don't have to rush it. You don't have to follow someone else's timeline. The only timeline that matters is yours. It's okay to take a step back when you need to. Life can be overwhelming. There are times when you need to recharge, reevaluate, and reassess where you're going. Sometimes life throws curveballs, and the best thing you can do for yourself is to step away for a while. It's not about quitting or giving up. It's about taking the necessary time to heal, reflect, and rebuild yourself. It's about understanding that in order to move forward, you might need to first take a step back. The people around you might tell you that it's time to get back into the game, that you should stop wasting time and just push forward. But you need to understand that returning before you're ready can do more harm than good. If you force yourself back into action before you've done the inner work, before you've regained your strength, clarity, and focus, you're not doing yourself any favors. You're setting yourself up for burnout, frustration, and failure. You're not going to perform at your best if you're not mentally, emotionally, and physically prepared to go back. The key here is to trust yourself and your own process. Only you know when you're ready to return. Only you can feel that sense of readiness, that inner knowing that it's time to step back into the world with full force. This readiness doesn't come from the outside world. It doesn't come from others telling you what you should be doing or when you should be doing it. It comes from within. It comes when you've done the necessary work on yourself, when you've taken the time to reflect on your life, your goals, and what you truly want moving forward. So many people make the mistake of rushing back into the world too soon, thinking that they have to meet some kind of expectation. But this often leads to disappointment because they haven't taken the time to fully prepare themselves. They haven't done the work of recharging, rediscovering their purpose, and aligning themselves with their true goals. When you step away and give yourself the time you need, you come back stronger, more focused, and more aligned with what you really want. Now, this doesn't mean you should stay in hiding forever. It doesn't mean you should avoid challenges or run away from discomfort. What it means is that you need to give yourself the space to heal and grow. You need to stop judging yourself for needing time and start embracing the fact that this is a natural part of your journey. Everyone goes through periods where they need to take a break, reevaluate, and come back with a fresh perspective. This is part of growth, and it's essential to your success. When you return, whether that's to your career, your goals, or your relationships, you want to do so with a sense of purpose and clarity. You want to come back when you're energized, motivated, and fully ready to take on what's ahead. You want to return with the confidence that you're doing things for the right reasons and with the right mindset. If you rush back before you're ready, you risk coming back with confusion, self-doubt, or an incomplete plan. You risk losing the momentum you've built up in your time away. Taking the time to return when you're truly ready is also about protecting your peace. There's a lot of pressure in the world to keep going, to never stop, to always be hustling. But peace doesn't come from running yourself ragged or constantly trying to keep up with the expectations of others. Peace comes when you've done the work to center yourself, to get in touch with your true desires, and to recognize what's best for your life in the long term. It's easy to get caught up in the noise of the world, the demands of work, family, friends, and society. But you need to remember that your peace is your responsibility. You are in charge of your life, and if you need to step back, do it. If you need to take a breather, do it. There is no shame in taking time for yourself. There is no shame in saying, "I'm not ready yet," and walking away for a while to get yourself back on track. When you return, you'll find that you're more equipped to handle the challenges that lie ahead. You'll return with a clearer mind, a renewed sense of energy, and a stronger belief in yourself. You'll come back ready to tackle your goals with a fresh perspective, knowing that you've taken the time to prepare yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically. The bottom line is that you are in control of your journey. You don't have to follow anyone else's timeline. You don't have to meet anyone else's expectations. Your path is unique, and your timing is yours to decide. So when it's time for you to step back, do it without guilt. And when it's time for you to return, do it with confidence, knowing that you're ready to face whatever comes your way. Your comeback will be far more powerful when it comes from a place of readiness, clarity, and purpose. And when you do return, you'll return with a fire in your belly, ready to take on the world and create the life you've always dreamed of. But that journey starts with giving yourself the permission to step back when needed, and the wisdom to know when you're truly ready to come back. All right, we've covered a lot today. The steps, the strategies, and the mindset you need to disappear from the distractions and transform yourself into the person you want to become. It's not about waiting for the right moment. It's about taking action, even if it's small, and sticking with it. Remember, real change doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, patience, and consistency. But as long as you keep moving forward, even if it's just one step at a time, you will get there. You'll become the person you're meant to be, and you'll live the life you deserve. So if you're ready, start today. Don't wait for someone else to make it happen for you. You have everything it takes to change your life. You just have to commit to the process and trust yourself. Thank you for being here. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can keep getting more content that helps you grow and move forward in your life. Keep focused, keep working, and remember, you have the power to transform. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.